Hey, this is Will with a Board Game Minute. I'm going to take a quick look at tile-laying games and have a quick discussion about what makes them tick. So, tile-laying games, generally, you're taking pieces from the game and assembling them together in shapes or patterns, often like a puzzle or a jigsaw puzzle. And sometimes there's a color matching component to it, or even like a domino-like component. They can often be a great way to introduce people to board gaming, especially if they grew up playing something like dominoes. You've got games like Kingdomino that is essentially the basic rules to dominoes, where you're putting together the matching components with very similar shaped tiles, but with the goal of trying to get groupings of colors and score them. Often the rules are very simple in tile matching games, and puzzle and the difficulty comes in how you put them together. This can really make it easy for newcomers into the hobby because there's not a lot of rules to have to remember, but they still have the satisfying experience of seeing what they have built at the end of the game. And I think that is really the main draw, the main trigger is that sense of construction, the sense of completing something or making an image or a picture. Almost like an artist would kind of look down at their work and say, yeah, this was good. It maybe didn't quite go in the exact direction I wanted, but I'm happy with the results. Whether you win or lose, you still get that feeling of accomplishment. And I know a lot of people really draw towards that as gamers. Sometimes we game for different reasons, and tile laying can reach out to both the competitive as well as the more relaxed sense of tile laying. Patchwork is an excellent two-player tile laying game. Really, it's only 2 players. And what really makes this one interesting is not only are the shapes totally different and often difficult to put together, but there is an economy based around the buttons in the game. And much like a quilt, at the end, you end up with a beautiful construction, while still having a fairly cutthroat time of placing tiles, but not so much that you're angry at the end. You look down at your board and you're saying, like, look, I almost put together the entire square worth of fabric. Carcassonne, in my hilarious old travel version, this thing comes in a baggie with all the tiles and pieces all inside in a drawstring bag. Also used as the scoring, which is quite hilarious, but we have played this thing to death. Carcassonne, I think at this point, is probably has been one of the entry games into the hobby for many people. It's much up there with Catan and Ticket to Ride. Carcassonne has been kind of an entry to tile laying. In Catan, the tiles are already out. You don't get to build anything. But in Carcassonne, you are taking one tile at a time and placing them, maybe claiming some area as your own for points. But at the end, you look back at the sprawling city with roads going everywhere, and you do really get the sense that you've built something. And cooperatively, even though you are competing for points, you still work together to put together a beautiful train. Next, we have Azul. This is the 3rd game in the series, Summer Pavilion, and also my favorite of the series. This one is closest to the analogy of laying tiles in your bathroom. At the end, your board will literally look like the tiles on the wall or bathroom floor or something like that. I know it's not based on bathroom tiles, but it does have a beautiful sense of color. There is a drafting mode for tiles, but you're still putting them together in shapes and groupings and colors on your player board, and you can look down at the end and see the beautiful things you've put together with the art of the statues kind of around your display, accentuating that, and you do feel like you've put something together. This can work well with 2 to 4 players, and really you can't go wrong with any of the games in this series. I feel like the Summer Pavilion version is the most easygoing because there are plenty of bonuses that you can trigger that will allow you to help complete your objectives and your shapes, and is the least mean. Some of the Azul games can be definitely mean to players, and will let you stick players with negative points if they make the wrong moves. So I highly recommend this. I've been able to play this a number of times with my wife and friends, and it really is quite a lot of fun with some different strategies to kind of keep it going. Next, back to Kingdomino. This is, again, like the most traditional of the domino type games. Your pieces are dominoes. You're putting them together when you have to match a side to an existing piece that's similar. Kingdomino can also work great for children to help teach math, which is possibly surprising. There's a lot of addition in board games, but Kingdomino will really help them learn basic times tables. Because at the end of the game, scoring your board involves a lot of, this small number multiplied by this small number. And then add that to another set of multiplication, plus another set of multiplication. And it really helps with mental math as well, if they can do it all in their heads. If not, give your kids a piece of paper and let them write it down. It's really not too difficult to learn either. Even with the advanced rules of having to keep your castle in the center for bonus points or perfectly complete your grid, it is still definitely understandable to kids. And works really well. Plus, it's got beautiful colors and has won plenty of board game awards as well. And I believe this is Bruno Cafala. Yeah, Bruno Cafala, excellent designer who's done many great things. Really, these are all highly recommended from well-known designers. Kingdomino does have a little bit more of the puzzle aspect to it. I know sometimes people are drawn to games because of the puzzle of wanting to use their mind to accomplish something or put something together and work it out, find the best way to do things. But it does so in a light way that does not bog down the time. And yet they can still decide, how they want to arrange their land so that they can maximize the points for it. And it does work very well for that. And Cascadia, which would be the newest addition to this list. I mean, I have plenty of tile laying games, but kind of hot off the press from AEG, artwork by Beth Sobel. This is from the same group that did Calico and the new Verdant game, which is still currently on Kickstarter. Cascadia, while it's not a evolution of gaming, it is or revolution. It's not a revolution of gaming. It is just such a wonderful game to play with really any group. You can even play it solo, which you'll probably see later in this channel. Cascadia very simply takes 6 shaped tiles and matches them with animal discs. And you have to draft them, essentially. You get a selection of pairings, and you pick a pair, and then you place them in different places on your board. And it has that overlaid puzzle sense. Some games will overlay multiple objectives on top of each other, which you're trying to maximize. Like Azul has you not only completing full flowers, but also trying to complete, maybe the 3rd tile from each of the set, or the 4th tile from each of the set will reward you bonus points. Cascadia is kind of like that too, but not only are you trying to put together shapes and colors of the largest groups that represent the landscapes, but also each animal token scores in a different way. And there are a whole bunch of more cards that will dictate how they are scored, and that can change each game. So there is a lot of variability. The game is really not very long, but it can be very puzzly too, but not in the sense that will slow things down. This can be played as a much more relaxed game. Everyone has their own little landscape that they're working on, and there's not a lot of rush or pressure. Plus, you're not confined. Their previous game, Calico, while Calico is also an absolutely amazing puzzle that can really burn the brain and get the smoke coming out of your ears, trying to figure out how to maximize your points. Calico slowly restricts you. whereas Cascadia is essentially wide open, and you can just put things anywhere connected to your board, to your play area, and then the animals, of course, give life to the game by having multiple scoring objectives. Players can do different things. You don't always have to focus on the same animals. And there's even a family variance of differing difficulty levels. So if you want to play it with the younger kids or uh, or people who are not willing or ready to step up to a more complicated scoring mechanics, or even if you just want a more relaxed, even more relaxed and but still vibrant game, you can play with the basic family scoring and just have an easy time. Just enjoy, having a chat with your friends while picking tiles. And going back to the artist analogy, uh, looking down at your array of colors and animals, at the game after a game like Cascadia or Azul does kind of fit that primal sense of needing to create things. Everyone is a creator, whether they think so or not. Maybe your creations are, more physical or sports based, or maybe you are an artist, or maybe you're a programmer and your creations are in words, in code, and a writer creates words. A hobbyist could be someone who's building a canoe in their in their basement or their garage. There is a real draw, especially as I think as you grow older and you're looking to contribute, to your own life as well as to the world. Getting the feeling of having done something fun is having fun and worthwhile and beautiful is a great sense of accomplishment in its own. And maybe that's why I'm even doing this board game channel, right? Like maybe I'm doing this because I think it's going to be fun and I want to share the love of board gaming with people. And today, calling games. So thanks for watching. This has been Board Game Minutes. I'm Will. Please like and subscribe and keep playing games.